Hi. I don't normally do these kind of videos, let alone on Overwatch, but I've been seeing a lot of discourse on socials, Twitter, Reddit, things like that, over some of the changes made for the 6v6 test. Especially this one. You can't really see, but I'm highlighting it, you know. And looking at this at face value, I see why people are freaking out, because Widow is quite dominant in 5v5, in the base game in 5v5 right now. But let me explain why this makes sense. To give you a lens, the lens in which I'm looking through, I am by no means some sort of like top 500 grandmaster player, but I've been around here for a hot minute. I've been around here since like mid-2016, not long after the game came out, so yeah, I've seen some things. People are pointing at this and saying, like, what the hell are they doing? Why have they buffed Widow? This is, like, she had 175 HP in Overwatch 1. What is this? However, we are going into this Overwatch 2 6v6 role queue test with all the Season 9 stuff inside of it. And this Season 9's changes aren't just boiled down to more health. Season 9's changes especially impacted the tank role. It added a lot of damage and health, but, you know, we're not talking about that right now, to the tanks. It made Rein's, like, hammer deal 100 damage per swing. It made Ramatra's punches, after a while, deal, I think it's 65 damage. Can't remember the number off the top of my head. If I'm smart, I'll put something here in the editing. That sort of thing. They gave a lot of the tanks capability of doing much more damage. Widowmaker is very oppressive in the 5v5 format, partly due to the off-tank, the second tank being removed. Because previously, in Overwatch, if you had, I don't know, a fucking Reinhardt on main, right? You could have a D.Va, a Winston, or, in this case, a Hazard. Or just some other, like, a Ball, some other, like, off-tank, just go and make her life a living hell. Widowmaker was mostly kept in line back in the 6v6 days by that off-tank. Obviously, you could deal with her on other things, other DPS and whatnot, and even supports, but that was the main thing. The off-tank could make it their mission to ensure that the enemy Widow cannot do anything. Especially as someone like D.Va or Winton or a lot of them, really. Anyone that's capable of moving, covering a lot of ground, and getting up to whichever ledge or what have you Widowmaker is sitting on. Now, with that out of the way, I wanted to move on to the next point, which is people being angry, for lack of a better word, or disappointed maybe, that they are going into this with the Season 9 changes in place either way. Also, that was my Discord ping, not yours, sorry. I don't think there would be much point in just snapping your fingers and reverting everything to how it was in Overwatch in 2021 or 2020, mid-2022, before we swapped over to Overwatch 2. Because in that case, what's the point? As much as a 5v5 hater as I am, I can acknowledge that they've added in some pretty cool changes and things since then, namely the passive regen. And I do think that what they've done to the health pools has been overall pretty good for the game. And also, you've got the DPS passive, which I think is also pretty good, and all that stuff. So, I think that this test is not meant to be this bulletproof, like, silver bullet that'll immediately be the greatest 6v6 we could ever have and will bring back the good old days. it's a test. It's an experimental at the end of the day. They're trying to figure out how this ticks. Initially, they were planning on running the other 6v6 test, the one that they're calling Min 1 Max 3, where you can have 3 of one role, but you have to have at least one of a role. So you could do like 3 tanks, 1 DPS, 2 supports, that sort of thing. They were originally planning on holding that one first, earlier in the season, to ensure that, like, to give themselves some time, see how that plays, and then make some balance changes. But for this one, by their own admission, in the interview that Spilo, however you pronounce it, did with Aaron Keller and Alec Dawson, they essentially said that they're going to kind of have to wing it now. So they just gave it their best guess, all that jazz. Which makes sense to me, because a lot of people were kind of bummed that they were going to be putting out this... They weren't going to be starting the season with this classic 2-2-2, like, this is the 6v6 that, like, people have been calling for to return. Which makes a lot of sense. And I feel like if people see 6v6 Overwatch new season, and they see that all over the socials, they'll be like, oh, I guess I'll pick up the game. And then if they come back, and it's not the 6v6 they're expecting, if it's that Min 1 Max 3 thing, they'll be like, what the hell is this? And then they'll just put it down and never come back to it again. But yes, this isn't about, like, snapping your fingers and clicking the, like, go back to Overwatch 1 key. We have Classic for that. Speaking of, excited for Moth Meta. As much of an unbalanced shit show as it's going to be, I'm sure. It's not meant to be that. It's meant to be some of the old, some of the new, basically. Seeing how 6v6 operates in an Overwatch 2 format, and not just in the context of we have the new Overwatch heroes and the reworked heroes that have been the heroes that have been reworked since Overwatch 2. If you couldn't tell, this is not scripted. I'm literally just rambling off the cuff here. But yeah, this is not intended to be some sort of, like, go back to Overwatch 1. It's intended to be new and old, like 6v6, but in Overwatch 2. And I think that is totally fine, because 6v6, I mean, we know we know that, like, this isn't gonna, like, make all the problems go away. 5v5 has problems, 6v6 has problems, but I think there is a middle ground that can exist, where you can take some of the lessons from 5v5 and what helped with that, and you can smash it together with 6v6 and basically try and make the best of both worlds. I know that they've said that they don't think they're not going to be removing 5v5 outright, because nor should they, because that would then, like, the moment you take something away from someone, that's when you piss people off, right? But I think this test is a good thing. I encourage everyone to try it out, play it, and if you're enjoying it, then play it a bunch. Show the devs that you are enjoying it, and yeah, here's hoping it all goes well. That'll be about it from me. See ya.